Hey guys, welcome to my channel SAP Agile Learners. Today we are going to talk about MVC Architecture and SAP Fiori or SAP UI5. And I hope that you have seen my previous videos. If not, please check the link in the video description or press the top right icon, which will explain you the concepts of SAP Fiori and tools to develop your own Fiori apps. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe for my upcoming videos. Now let's get started. So what you are going to learn is MVC architecture, types of model, types of view, and the last, controller lifecycle hooks. MVC architecture. Model view controller is an architectural pattern for building applications. It helps us to manage, develop, and maintain complex code better. SAP Fiori applications also follow this pattern. Model. A model in MVC architecture holds the data and provides method to retrieve the data from the database and to set and update data. It is a container for the data upon which your application operates. View. The view in MVC architecture is responsible for defining and rendering the UI. SAPUI5 provides different view types that we will be discussing in our upcoming slides. Next, controller. The controller reacts to view events and user interaction by modifying the view and model. A controller contains methods that define how models and views interact. Sometimes there is a scenario when we do not want to process our data using controller. In that case, we use the data present in the model. So this way, data binding happens between model and view. Any change to the data in the model automatically gets displayed on the SAPUI5 control. So next is the responsibilities of model, view, and controller. Next comes types of model. There are two types of models, client-side and server-side models. Let's talk about client-side models. Client-side models have further three models. First, JSON. JSON model is a client-side model and therefore used for small data sets. It supports two-way, one-way, and one-time binding modes. It is used to bind controls to JavaScript object data in JSON format. Next, XML. It also supports two-way, which is default one-way, and one-time binding modes. Also used for small data sets, it does not contain mechanism for server-based paging. And the last one, resource model, handles data in resource bundles, mainly to provide text in different languages. It supports one-time binding mode. Next, there is a server-side model. OData model is a server-side model, that is, the dataset is only available on the server and the client only knows the currently requested data. There are two server-side models, OData v2, OData v4. OData v2, it enables binding of controls to data from OData services. Operations like sorting and filtering are done on the server side. One OData model instance can only cover one OData service. Next, OData v4. It provides limited feature scope. This model supports read access, groups data request in a batch request, and updating properties of OData entities via two-way binding. Next comes types of view. As we discussed earlier, that view is responsible for defining and rendering the UI. SAPUI5 supports predefined view types. First one is XML view. Second, JSON view. Third is JS view. And the fourth is HTML view. Before we discuss it in detail, let me show you where you can see these options. So let's switch to the Eclipse. Here, when you go to the project folder, just right click on that, go to new. From there, go to other. This time select a view Click on Next. Here you will see there are different types of views present for developing your UI. Now let's get back to our slide. So, XML view supports a mix of XML and plain HTML. XML views are recommended by SAP as the code becomes readable and easier to support. File name either ends with .view.xml or is an XML string. Next is JSON view. The JSON view type is defined in a file. The file name ends with either .view.json or as a JSON string. We can use strings, boolean values and null while developing JSON views. The next comes JS view. We create JS view in the same way as a controller and use the suffix .view.js for the file. SAP UI5 provides two default methods for its implementation. Get controller name. The second, create content. And the last view is HTML view. It supports embedded HTML. The view file ends with view.html. Next comes controller lifecycle hooks. As we learned earlier, a controller contains methods that define how models and views interact. We can add event handlers or other functions to the controller. Suffix .controller.js is mandatory for controllers. SAP UI5 provides predefined lifecycle hook methods. First one is onInit, called when a view is instantiated and its control have already been created. It is used to modify the view before it is displayed to bind event handlers. Next, on before rendering. It is called every time the view is rendered before the renderer is called and the HTML is placed in the DOM tree. Next, on after rendering. Called when the view has been rendered. It is used to do post-rendering manipulations of the HTML. And the last, onExit method. OnExit method gets called when the view is destroyed. It is used to free resources. Now let us quickly summarize what we have learned in this video. You learned about the MVC architecture, then we talked about types of model, we took a closer look at the types of view, and finally you learned about the controller lifecycle hook methods. In the next video, we will look at the application project structuring and other demo programs. And if you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe. Also, you can reach out to me on sap.agilelearners@gmail.com. Thank you and goodbye.